Are we at war?
Of course. I think the war started the day India struck those 9 locations within Pakistan. Nobody's going to come and formally tell you that we are at war. We are at war.
If you look at the wars, 1947, 65, 71, 99 Kargil war, they've been doing it repetitively and repetitively.
Pakistan survives on 3 A's: Allah, America, and Army. Pakistani army is dominated by the Punjabi Musliman. To remain relevant, they want to create situations where people feel that it's their army that's protecting them, and Pakistan survives because of the army.
I think it's a very psychological game as well.
This is for the first time that India has gone and hit Pakistan after 1971 in its heartland. And that is where the message goes very clearly across the country that your army, which comes from this area, cannot protect this area. How will it protect the rest of you?
Thank you so much, Sarji.
You're welcome.
Such a pleasure having you here. You have had a illustrious and the most distinguished career for yourself as well in the army. Tell me, just curious, why did you choose to be a part of the Indian army or the Indian military services?
Well, I think it was more to do with my dad. He was in the army also. And from the time I was about 4 years of age, I used to watch him going to work in his uniform, the kind of lifestyle he had, the kind of exciting life he had, and I wanted to be like him. He was my idol. He was my first teacher. Yeah. So as I grew up, it never changed. I always wanted to be like him, and I said, I'm going to join the army. And therefore, right out of school, I went to the NDA and IMA, and there it is. The rest is history.
Yeah. As much as I would love to know more about that, just want to change the gears to understand what's happening between India and Pakistan. Now, as much as some people might deny, I want to ask a question from a military officer. Are we at war?
Of course. I think the war started the day India struck those 9 locations within Pakistan on the night of 6th May. That was war. And there should be no doubt in anybody's mind that we are at war. Nobody's going to come and formally tell you that we are at war. We are at war. The Pakistanis have hit us. We have gone back and hit them. It's full-blown war.
And we declared that it is Operation Sindoor, which is a symbolism of pride, which is a symbolism for justice and courage.
Yes.
As much as the whole India is talking about justice served, I would like to understand through your eyes, how sure are we that we have addressed all their terrorist base and we have taken justice from the heads of those terrorist bodies, be it Lashkar or Jaish-e?
You must understand that when you talk of a terrorist base, it is not a fixed location. Today, it was in, say, Muridke. Tomorrow, it could come up anywhere else. So therefore, what we have done is, we have hit 9 known locations. That does not mean that there aren't more. Because you may not know where and when these come up. Because like I said, they can come up anytime, anywhere. Yeah. Finally, it only involves a couple of people coming together. That is the core group. And then they carry on the recruitment and indoctrination and training and everything else that goes with creating a terrorist. So our aim, as if you heard when the Prime Minister came on television and said that our aim is to destroy the terrorists and anybody else who's supporting or training or the handlers, or words to that effect. Whether this is going to help that or not, only time will tell. Because we have in the past also reacted to terrorist strikes where we went in for airstrikes at Balakot. Yeah. We went in for the Uri strikes. Yeah. But it didn't work. Not those strikes notwithstanding, there were terrorist actions even after that. So I think that notwithstanding, let's put that aside for the moment, because we will know that only at the end and later. But what we have done today sends a strong message to Pakistan that should you support terrorism in any form, then you will be hit where it hurts. And that should be our aim today. It's a deterrence. It's a message to tell them, stop.
So, considering when we said that justice served, Was it a little premature to say this?
Not at all.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it was premature. Justice is served when you struck.
Okay.
Whether the outcome was positive, lukewarm, or unknown, it doesn't matter. The message was clear that India meant business, and they went ahead and did that. It was expected that should you hit Pakistan, there would be retaliation. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah.
And we were prepared for it. And so what Pakistan did in retaliation was expected.
Yeah.
And we had catered for it.
Yeah.
So I was not surprised, and I was very happy when the strikes went.
Yeah. In the last 1 week, what has happened is they retaliated and they attacked 15 of our sites. There were almost like 50 drones that, of course, that were shot down by the Indian Army. So what was happening?
When we went in, we announced that we are going in for terrorist organized sites where they are being trained, and we are not hitting military targets, and nor are we hitting infrastructure, civil infrastructure or civilians. And that was to give the message that it's clinical only related to terrorism.
Yeah.
And that was also an opportunity being given to Pakistan not to up the ante, because to justify that you did something in Pahalgam and this is in retaliation against the terrorists. But obviously, like I said earlier, everybody was expecting that Pakistan would retaliate. And whom would they hit? We have no terrorist camps in India, so they couldn't take that line. The next choice is to hit the military. The people who hit you, you hit them back.
Yeah.
And the third and the most heinous of it would be to hit civilians. So that's the order in which it comes. We hit terrorists, they hit the military. We go back and hit the military. And that's the escalation ladder.
Yeah.
That's how it's been escalating ever since. So those 15 strikes of theirs which came, which you spoke of, the drones were neutralized. Then we went back and hit the air defense units at significant locations like Lahore and Rawalpindi and so on and so forth, Karachi. That was a message to say that now we will hit the military.
Yeah.
And it was also signaling, if you saw those strikes next to the GHQ headquarters, they hit the stadium where the Pakistan League was to be conducted and the cricketers were evacuated. And that was a message that we can hit here, we can hit you next.
Yeah.
But India has been quite restrained in their response, calibrated not to escalate. And they said so repeatedly. But Pakistan probably also needs to show something to their population.
That's exactly what my question is. This is not the first time that Pakistan has done what they have been doing. Be it if you look at the wars, 1947, 65, 71, 99 Kargil war. They've been doing it repetitively, and repetitively they have experienced that they are not able to chew what they are biting. Now, why are they doing that? What's happening because of which they are choosing these kind of acts?
So in the past, there was a saying that the Pakistan survives on 3 A's: Allah, America, and Army. The Americans are no more there now.
Yeah.
But the Army and Allah are there.
Yeah.
And I think to remain relevant, the military which rules Pakistan de facto, to remain relevant, they want to create situations where people feel that it's their army that's protecting them, and Pakistan survives because of the army. And that can only happen when you keep the bogey of India alive, and you do that by using terrorism as a means to keep the pot simmering. And I feel that is what was happening even in Pahalgam. They sent in the terrorists to send a message across, because they found development was taking place in Srinagar, in the valley. Tourism was moving ahead, smart city, things were changing. Now you need to do something to try and stop that, stem that development, and that's what they did. This is my reading of it.
And also, as I'm just sitting back and witnessing the whole scenario now, what I'm realizing is that it's a very psychological, of course, they are playing the game with the arms and the drones and the technology that they have been equipped with. I think it's a very psychological game as well, because in Pahalgam as well, if you look at, before they shot, they asked what religion you belong to. And they were very mindful that they are not going to shoot women and children, so that, hey, just go and tell your government what you are witnessing here. And then the recent past, during the Pahalgam and after that, when they sent drones and missiles to India, they were targeting Gurdwara Sahib. They are targeting different religion. And I would like to understand through the mind of an army officer, what kind of psychological game they are trying to play to create that communal disturbance in their neighboring country.
So you have a point there, but a little bit of factual disagreement I have. When they were in Pahalgam, no doubt they asked the religion and they made sure that they were shooting people who are non-Muslims.
Yeah.
So that was a message to separate the Muslims and the rest, to cause a divide. When we restricted movement of goods into Pakistan and movement of the civilians into our country, they reciprocated. They allowed only the Sikhs to go ahead. So the Kartarpur corridor had not been shut for Sikhs.
Okay.
There was sending a message, and this was also said on air by their, I think, foreign minister or defense minister, that we are here to help the Sikhs who have been persecuted by the Indian government, giving the example of Canada. That in Canada they went and shot the Sikhs, and that they've been, suppressing the Sikh liberation wanting of Kazakhstan. Yeah. So they were creating a divide between the Sikhs and the Hindus.
Yeah.
So they were looking at dividing India.
Yeah.
And that's how Pahalgam, what we spoke of,
yeah.
the Kartarpur corridor was a clear message, and this statement made by their defense minister, I think it was. Now this talk of whether the Gurdwara Sahibs was being targeted is not verified. But yes, I saw an article saying that 2 of the missiles were actually going to hit Harminder Sahib and things like that. Yeah. But it was not verified, so I cannot comment on that. Okay. But surely you can make out what the plot is to divide the population.
So General, help me understand, since you spoke about that they are trying to justify their presence in their own country. And if I look at from the psychological perspective, they have created an identity for themselves and they are clinging on to at the cost of so much of destruction. In one of the news that I was listening to, it could be on social media as well, they claim that they have shot down 5 of our fighter jets. What do you think? What is the reality, if there is any, that you're aware of? Or how they must be projecting it in their own media?
In every war, apart from the kinetic and diplomatic and economic and all the other measures, is also psychological warfare.
Yes.
Which is probably the most important weapon, because it attacks the minds of the people. And it's the mind of the enemy. If you can attack it, then victory is closer. So when they go out and say we knocked down 5 Indian jets, and when CNN asks the defense minister of Pakistan as to, do you have proof of it? He goes ahead and says it's on social media. So it's quite evident that they don't have any proof, and this is like, they're just doing it for psychological warfare. And it should be understood by us that such moves and such announcements will be there, and it's normal, because everyone wants to show that that they have made gains, that they are winning, and that enhances the morale and lowers the morale of the enemy. As far as we are concerned, no announcement has come from our government about loss of any aircraft, and we should go by that. I think we should wait for official announcements before we accept the fact that we have lost any aircraft. So nothing has come from the Pakistan side in terms of evidence, and nothing has been announced by our own government. So I think we should leave it at that. But when you talk of them trying to justify their existence, that is a necessity now. But in this case, probably, they have bitten off more than they can chew. They probably miscalculated the reaction that India would have to the Pahalgam attacks. They did not probably imagine that 9 places would be struck in the heartland of Pakistan. It's never happened earlier. So for them, it would be a disproportionate response in their thinking. Whereas, like I mentioned earlier, I think it was a very adequate response that we needed to give, and a good message goes through to Pakistan.
And when they attacked at our 15 sites, we could neutralize all their drones and missiles. Tell us more about the aerial superiority, the aerial support that we have, and the Indian air defense system that we have.
Yeah, I think our air defense system surpassed everybody's expectations.
Yeah.
I, for one, also never imagined that we would have such a good air defense system. And we'd seen the Israeli Iron Dome,
Yes.
which had stopped missile after missile coming from Iran and other places. And what happened on the night of 7th May when Pakistan struck those 15 locations was something similar. And this has been attributed to the S-400s, which have been imported from Russia.
Yeah.
They have been very effective. And apart from that, along with them are many other air defense systems like the ZSUs, the ZUs, the other surface-to-air missiles. And this entire bouquet has managed to keep our entire airspace safe from Pakistan drones, from Pakistan aircraft and missiles.
Yeah.
So I think it worked out very well, and that's probably the reason why we could then go in next day and give a message to them that we can take out your air defense systems. And that's what happened on yesterday afternoon, on 8th afternoon. At about 12 o'clock, they went and hit Lahore, they hit Rawalpindi, they hit Karachi, Islamabad. This was all...
We shot 100 drones and missiles.
Yes.
We targeted all the major cities in Pakistan.
Correct.
Now here is a question. What message this time we are trying to give to them? That we are not going to stop, we are not going to entertain any of these activities.
You know, you must understand the psyche of the Paki army.
Huh.
The Pakistani army is dominated by the Punjabi Mussalman. Okay. The entire army, all the senior leadership are Punjabis from Lahore and the Punjab, which is the heartland of Pakistan. Till now, every time whenever we had an exchange, it's been in the Pak-occupied Kashmir area, along the line of control. This is for the first time that India has gone and hit Pakistan after 1971 in its heartland, the Pakistan Punjab. And that is where the message goes very clearly across the country, that your army, which comes from this area, cannot protect this area. How will it protect the rest of you? It's a great message. And that's how we went and hit all their cities of importance, of strategic importance and of economic importance.
Yeah, so it's not only a war.
It's not only a war. It is war. So you had military destruction, plus you had a psychological impact that you hit the heartland.
It's a psychological war.
Absolutely.
And considering where Pakistan is today, there's not only they are not engaged in the external conflicts and the wars as we are talking about, there are so many internal conflicts going on within Pakistan as well. So on one hand, there's already a conflict going on because Imran Khan is imprisoned, and because of this, there's a lot of pressure that we are putting on to.
So I don't know if you saw recently, there was a news article that that Imran Khan had been sexually exploited in the prison by a major from the Pak army. There were documents released. This was in the news about 3 days ago. So that was, again, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's psychological warfare. And that has the PTI agitated against the kind of treatment that is being meted out to their leader. So there is a problem in the political scenario there. There is a problem in the army hierarchy, where there is a feeling amongst the other corps commanders that they were not taken into confidence when Pahalgam happened. And now they are facing the brunt of the action of the Paki army. Finally, they are also accountable to their men and to the population of Pakistan, that how are we going to protect you guys? So there is a problem there between these generals. There is a problem with Balochistan. There is a problem at the Pakhtun front. There is an issue to do with the economy. They don't have resources of more than 7 days of active war. So all this together with diplomatic isolation, which India has managed to ensure happens to Pakistan, I think they are fighting a war on probably 5 fronts. All these things are going to impact them. And in consonance with this, come in the military strikes, which are actually on ground causing destructions, and you are also attacking the mind of the entire nation to say your heartland is being attacked.
That's where I've always found myself so confused. On one hand, there are rallies for Imran Khan. There is internal disturbance, and yet somehow the Pakistan army has been able to convince that they are not terrorists and we are only supporting the Pakistani public. What do you think? What's happening there?
I don't know how many people believe that.
Huh.
Because finally, it's not easy to fool everybody all the time. So, whilst what you see or what they portray, maybe in the form that you said that they have managed to tell people that these are not terrorists and things like that, but I think on ground people know that the kind of training which has been happening, because it's not a one-time scene, it's been happening for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
So people on the ground would know that. And there is a huge resentment in the Pakistani population, because finally they are taking the brunt of all this happening. They already were on an economic crisis. There were power cuts, shortage of water, and shortage, the currency, $1, something like 330 Pakistani rupees. And now on top of that, when this war is being thrust upon them, casualties are happening, resources are going to, people had to go back from medical treatment, which they were doing out here. The movement has stopped into India. Goods have stopped. So it's going to be the common man who's going to take the brunt of this. And I think that's all rallying against the government. And you would find on their social media lots and lots of people talk against the kind of mess that their regime has led them into. So I think that's where it stands.
Yeah. You spoke about in between, we spoke about China. I was just looking at some details. It says that 81% of the infrastructure, the munitions are delivered from China to them. Russia exports around 36% of what we need on the war front. I'm just wondering, on one hand we have got China, on one hand we have got Pakistan. And during one of our conversations, you spoke about 2.5 front war. Tell us more about that. What is it that we are battling with internal? Because we have discussed what's happening internally in Pakistan. I'm sure there must be something similar, if not as huge as what's happening there.
Well, I would not call it similar, but yes, when we talk of a 2.5 front war, that's the worst situation that we talk of. The worst case scenario. And so when we say 2.5 front, one front is Pakistan. The second front, if it opens up, would be China.
Okay.
And that half front would be internal problems created by sleeper cells or fifth columnists who have been here and who would take this opportunity to create trouble. And trouble like sabotage of communication, of electric grids, of other infrastructure which is essential for our daily our daily lives and other activities. So we talk of the half front as that.
Got it.
Whether they're terrorists, whether they carry out killings, whether they carry out disruptions.
So all those sleeper cells and
everything put together would be that half cell.
Got it.
So that's how we that half front, and that's how we actually prepare that Indian Army or Indian Defence Services should be capable of taking on 2.5 fronts at one time, and we need to develop capability for that. Yeah. And that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah. On several occasions, I have read, I have heard that if war happens, now which is on, they'll not be able to survive for 5 days or even for 7 days. How much is it the truth? Because people said the same thing, that Ukraine would not be able to hold the war for 2 days or 4 days.
See, there are two aspects in war. One is the amount of resources that a country has, and so your capability to carry on your war with the logistics that is required in terms of the ammunition, fuel, equipment, and so on and so forth. The other aspect is your morale. Morale, I would say, is more important than the material part, because the material part can come to you from outside. Maybe China can provide them material support, and that 7 days can become 14 days. But if the morale of the army goes out, nobody can give you the morale. So morale is number one for sustenance of a war, and number two is your resources. Now, what we talk of that Pakistan will not be able to survive more than 7 days, that is what our clinical calculations in terms of the resources is concerned. But like I mentioned, if they have allies, which they do, then that resource can be rebuilt. And that ammunition, that fuel, weapons can all come in. And like Ukraine, you would have found, has been supplied weapons by NATO and NATO countries, and that has kept them going for a long time. And some of the state-of-the-art weaponry has come to Ukraine from America. And they have been very devastating in terms of knocking off Russian assets. So this 7 days should be taken as a theoretical yardstick. I don't think we should rely on that because, like I mentioned, it's the morale of the person which is more important. And therefore, when you hit their heartland, you are hitting their morale. You are telling them that you're not safe and that your government is leading you into collapse.
You know, during one of our conversations, we spoke about a red line when we were talking about nukes. Hand on heart, if you were to sit alone and just imagine that you're writing a diary for yourself in the chronological order, I'm sure as an ex-army officer, as the citizen of India, there are certain concerns that we have. If you were to tell me 3 reasons because of which there is some kind of concern or botheration within, it could be their nuclear weapons that they have or something like that. If you were to tell me 3 parameters that's causing that concern for you.
I think the only thing, I will not be able to name 3 because they aren't 3. I think the only thing that causes concern to me is the nuclear saber rattling. You know, the nuclear blackmail that they have been pushing down our throats for the last so many years. That if you were to attack us conventionally and if we are going to, have any losses of consequence, we will use the nuclear card. That is a matter of concern. But having said that, everybody has analyzed, and I think generalship is to keep the threshold below that of where you would push Pakistan into a nuclear strike. And I think everyone is conscious about that. The military has spoken of it for years now, and we know that there is space below the nuclear threshold for a conventional war.
But how can we be so sure of that threshold?
Yes. So that is what, speculation is based on your experience, based on the kind of signals you get out of their leadership, out of the military. When you study the character of the people, you do character studies of people who are like of the chief of the army staff, of the prime minister, because if his character is mild, or if he's very belligerent, or if he's very aggressive, that would give you a signal as to how early that threshold would be breached. But it is not a one-man's decision. In the case of Pakistan, I don't know. They are irrational. It could be a one-man decision. But if you were to just look at it logically, that space is there. Where that red line will be crossed is something that is very fine and difficult to reach. So people would always say that let's stay below the threshold. But if I was to take this further, there are 2 ways to carry on your war. One is you hope like hell that you don't cross that red line and Pakistan doesn't nuke you. Second is you look at your diplomatic alliances to put pressure on Pakistan that they don't use a nuclear bomb. But what is it that you can do is what I think we need to look at. And in my opinion, if it's an all-out war, which it is now, and you know that there is a nuclear threat, then you may also have an option of going and taking out those nukes. And there are countries around who have offered you such kind of support earlier. And who would be very interested in taking out these nukes because Pakistan has been portraying themselves as, the nuclear power of the Islamic world. And countries like Israel have made these offers to us earlier. So maybe, and I'm sure there is some kind of a thought process there also that, yes, it should be. That this is one of the options, and you work out the feasibility and you work out the kind of assurity you can get at the end of it.
So on one front, we have got this war going on, and I would love to double click on a conversation around nukes. But before that, I just want to bring in another element. We spoke about Indus River Treaty, where we said that we are going to stop water. What's happening on that front?
So I think that is a master move that India made. Because in all these years, India, despite the wars with Pakistan, never touched the Indus Water Treaty. This time when we said it is held in abeyance, And I don't know if you saw the interview of the World Bank boss Banga yesterday, because the World Bank brokered this treaty. And people are expecting the World Bank to, resolve it because India has held it in abeyance. He said that it's a treaty between two countries. And the World Bank has no role, but they were only a facilitator to have this treaty go through. Now, when India says we hold it in abeyance, means they have publicly announced that we will tamper with the water supply.
Yeah.
And tampering could be of two kinds. One is you stop supply to Pakistan, but for that you require infrastructure to hold that water or divert it elsewhere, which we don't have right now. And that would need time to create, maybe 5 years, plus minus.
Yeah.
But in the meanwhile, when you have the policy of tap on, tap off, so you hold the waters for 2-3 days, build up your reservoir, and then release the water in a gush, you upset the entire pattern of irrigation of the Pakistani farmers who depend upon this water. Yeah. Because you stop their water for a couple of days, and then you release so much of water that you can't use all the water. You will only be able to use what your capacity to use is. And this tap on, tap off is what we've already been doing now for the past 1 week. Yeah. Yesterday also, I think there were visuals of the water being released and some kind of semi-floods in the...
Yes.
So this is a very, very big move that India has made. And if we could develop infrastructure, you can actually stop Pakistan. So that is yet to be seen as to how we take it forward, how effectively the government can put this into use. But right now also what we're doing is brilliant.
So, General Sahab, we have been talking about what Air Force is doing. I'm very curious to understand what is our ground forces doing, what is Navy doing, and the kind of work that they have done in the last 1 week's time.
So the Indian Navy is much, much stronger than what the Pakistanis have, and that is a known fact. Our aircraft carrier has been in the Arabian Sea for a long time now, and as of last night, they have attacked Karachi port. As of reports which were coming this morning, they have managed to set a number of the facilities on fire, and the losses really are not clear right now. But notwithstanding, I'm sure there would be significant losses happening at the Karachi port, because the Navy has gone in with its full might of missile attacks, and it's a very potent force. The aircraft carrier has approximately 32 MiG-29 fighters out there, which are capable of causing and inflicting a lot of damage. So that part the Navy has done. As far as the ground forces is concerned, right now no action has happened. But it will be consequent to this air war once the air defense has been neutralized, which, if you would have seen in yesterday's strikes, India has claimed that they've taken out the air defenses of Lahore and few other places. When more of that has happened, only then the ground forces would probably cross over. And in the meanwhile, the ground forces would be ready, preparing their ammunition, equipment, and doing their rehearsals and training, and all that would be happening right now.
You know, the world that we are living in right now, it's not only the wars are not only played by the equipments that you have and the ammunition that you have and the missiles that you have. As we discussed, it's psychological war as well. And over that, it's a cyber war that we are playing. There's so much of misinformation running in all the social medias. How much should we trust? What should we trust? What's your take on this?
I think my take is very clear. Till this war is on, we as Indians must only listen to the official briefing given by the Ministry of External Affairs, where you have the Foreign Secretary with the two military ladies who come and give the briefing, and they give you a fair briefing of what is happening. But having said that, I think our news channels have also become very conscious, and they are verifying information before they put it out there. So I think we need to believe only this lot of people, and what you see on YouTubes or other WhatsApp messages and all, there's a good chance that it could be misinformation and a psychological ploy to demoralize you as to what is happening. So we should be wary of rumors, because like I said, the half front also includes this cyber warfare, which could happen from within, because we are aware we have enemies within. And that enemy within is more dangerous than the enemy outside.
You know, as we are coming to the end of the conversation, General Sam, any two messages that you would like to give to all our civilians, that how can we stay away from panic? Because we know that there is somebody who's taking care of us. So what are the two messages that
So I think we need to look at it on two fronts. One is that we should be sure that our defense services are capable of protecting us, as has already been demonstrated in the last 2-3 days. Not a single significant strike, despite the fact that Pakistan launched hundreds and hundreds of drones and other strikes, have come and hit anything of significance. So we must have faith in our forces, and we need to support them and stand by them. That's one. Secondly, as a nation, and here I bring the cyber warfare again, we should not spread rumors, we should not believe rumors, and we should keep our morale up and protect ourselves, and for which advisories have been given. The mock drills were put into place. We've been told what to do if there's an air raid, what is the kind of actions you should take, how you should remain safe. So try and acquaint yourself with where your medical facilities are, have your first aids ready, keep your torches and other things ready, and stay together and hope and support your country. I think that's what we should be doing at this time.
Thank you so much, General Sam, for sharing all the information through the lens of a military officer. I think it was very informative. And right now, as I'm just listening to you, what I'm experiencing in my body is a sense of pride that I know that Indian Army is taking care of us, the Navy is taking care of us, the Air Force is taking care of us. I have a sense of courage and reassurance that I'll be taken care of. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure through your medium, your entire lot of audience would also have the same surety and pride that you experience right now. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.